Hello everybody, my name is Fischer. I'm from Microsoft Germany and I'm caring for all the Microsoft Office server products and client products for large accounts in Microsoft. Basically, we are the strategy group within Microsoft Germany. What I'm presenting today is about a new way of working. My predecessor talked a lot about social and how the world changes, and I want to give you some background why we think that's really true and what products we are, not the products, but what technologies we are thinking about, what's the future of work. So first of all, oh, it works. I know. First of all, I wanted to show you this picture. The speed of information drives change. And I can remember, as I've been a student, and the email was introduced, and I needed to explain my parents, hey, email is cool because it's really accelerating the speed of information exchange, and you will see that it lands in the enterprises. And they could not believe it because they said, oh, it's not official, it's not a real good communication, there's no form in it, and all these things. But as we all know, and I'm sure that you all have your mobile phones, I hope the Windows 8.1 mobile phone in your pockets, the speed of information has really dramatically changed our style of communication and working together. And the next wave of speed of information is the social topics. So we all see that on the web with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and all these applications. And the enterprises think, hey, it's a good idea to do communication. And now it's about how to introduce that into companies. Yeah. Because if you look at companies, the successful companies from the past, they all look like that. So they haven't been built for change. They haven't been built for a massive information flow. Because if you introduce a new way of information, then the company culture has to change. And if you look to that picture, then we see that those companies haven't been built for change, and so it's very hard for them to adopt new ways of communication. Next slide, please. And that's also interesting analysis from Gartner. It's a worldwide analysis, and they say the non-routine work in 2010 is about 25% of all the time what we are working, or if you count everybody together and calculate how much time do they spend for non-routine work, it's about 25%. So saying that 75% of all people, of all employees' work is routine work. And with routine work, you have your specialized systems like a ERP system, like a workflow, like a email system that covers all the routine works. But it's dramatically changing. In a few years, we see that non-routine work will be about 40%. So there's much more change needed, and also in the communication and the working together, there's much more change needed to cover these non-routine tasks. Next slide, please. I love this next slide thing. And if you think about the hierarchy, which are normally in the companies, then you easily can understand why routine works and non-routine works is something different. Because if one here on the left side has a question to the other one who is on the right side, and maybe he doesn't know this person, then he needs to run with these questions around the hierarchy. And this is slow. Next slide, please. And the problem is, it's really slow, because if you compare that to the market today, then you see that the customers are already connected together. They use social tools to connect each other and to exchange ideas, to find problems in your offering. And you can react in the company only slow with your hierarchy communication, and that's a problem. I can give you an example from Microsoft Inside. So at the moment, we are in a massive transformation. You maybe have heard about devices and services strategy, new CEO, Natya Sadella, all these things that drive change. And with changed products and changed service offerings, of course, there are a lot of problems to be solved, because it is something different what we have done 10 years before. And to solve all the problems, it is really essential to have a quick communication with my colleagues in USA, with my people in the team, with my sales team and so on. And we solve that communication by having social communication inside Microsoft to be able to react much faster on the changing needs of the market. Next slide, please. And I want to give you an overview an historic overview about how productivity tools have changed. Next one, please. On the one side, we have the PC. Next one. And on the other side, we have multiple devices. So we see that in former history, we had only one computing device. That was a PC. As I've been a student, I was so proud having a PC. And on my desk, I was so proud having this new cool laptop. Today, I have a mobile phone, my tablet, my PC, and today, at home, I have my working PC in my working room. So multiple devices are one factor. On the other side, we have paper-based processes, so very routine work. Next slide, please. And we have electronic formats. So we need to distinguish between like paper or fixed workflows, and on the other side, electronic information which happens in videos or in chats or in phone calls and so on. Next one, please. And the past productivity tools, and we include us in that positioning with our office productivity tool. We have been very much on this lower left side, where it was more about transforming classic paper-based processes into the electronic world, so that these processes run faster. So invoice approval, for example, is one of the classic examples. So it was much easier to do that in an electronic way, because then it doesn't take 4 weeks, but it was done in 2 or 3 days. So we use productivity tools to transform classic paper-based products, classic paper-based processes into electronic world. Today, we have a completely different scope. We have multiple devices and we have much more electronic formats. Saying, have you ever tried to print out a Facebook chat? No, of course, everybody says no, because it doesn't make sense. It only exists in an electronic format. Whereas these days, the end product of a productivity, the end product was a paper. It was printed out. And today, it doesn't need to be printed out anymore, because it only exists in an electronic format and will be processed like that. So it's really changing how we use productivity tools. So if we, thank you very much, if we having a look at how is communication changing, then you see that social networks are really getting more and more importance. So this is a study from 2008 to 2011, and what they are saying is that the time needed for doing email communication each day is about 27-28%. So it doesn't go away, this email thing. No, it is still existing, and everybody says email is going away, and we say no, we don't think so, because we sell even more exchange licenses than we did before. So no, stay back. I'm sorry. One back, please. But what we see is that the time which is needed for social communication is really doubling from 15 to 30%. It's unbelievable. And with each IT decision maker I talk, then they say, no, I don't believe that. And why don't they believe that? Because they are in an age where they normally don't use social technologies. But if they look to the younger employees, they will see that these guys use social technologies. And what's also interesting is that phoning is being reduced, meaning that people don't talk with each other, they write each other. Funny thing. Next slide, please. So I talked already about this generation thing. The younger generation is really, and it's in general, I don't want to, other people also use social technology, but this is just a metaphoric thing. So the younger generation is really adopting social. They are used to it from their private life, from their studying life, and they bring those technologies into the enterprises. On the other side, we have the baby boomers in the enterprises, and they don't like social. They don't understand the value of it. And they are used to do project management. They are used to have transparent paper-based processes, and they want to have an audit about them, and they want to archive them. That's a really big difference between them. And what happens today is that there are many vendors out there who are only concentrating on social, and there are many vendors out there who are only concentrating on archiving, workflow, and all these technologies. But the trick is to avoid the CIO's headache. The trick is that you have a platform in place which where every communication is really able to be processed, so that a younger employee can really work together and exchange ideas and documents. We don't know who the employee, and it's just a metaphoric thing. Next slide, please. And that's also an interesting tendency at the moment in the market. And of course, this is seen from a Microsoft or from a software vendor perspective, but it's also influencing how IT decisions are made. in history, or up to today, it was very easy for us to sell our software because we knew the IT decision maker, we knew his name, we knew his birthday, we knew how many childs he has, and the names of the childs and the birthday of his childs, and also from, of course, his wife. And we sold this IT stuff to him, and then we signed a contract and we helped them to deploy that. Today, it's different because the IT decisions are not made purely by the IT decision maker, but they are made from the employees themselves. So they are using Skype, they are installing Dropbox, they are installing Yammer, they are having all this shadow IT, and basically what happens is that the employees themselves are deciding what way of work they want to do. How is that possible? It is possible because in history we sold on-premises software which needed to be installed and then deployed, and all these IT things need to be done. And today we or most of the IT vendors are selling cloud software. And cloud can be consumed much easier because there is no installation. There is no technical integration. It's just there and you can use it. So departments or employees themselves decide for using such solutions. Next one. I'm excusing that I'm making some advertising for Microsoft, but this is how we are reacting on that changing needs in the workforce. So our latest announcement is this. We are having products like SharePoint, Yammer, Exchange, and file systems and all that stuff. And the problem is that the information only lives in those systems, meaning the document collaboration information lives in SharePoint. The social communication lives in Yammer. The email conversation lives in Exchange, and so on and so on. And if we are thinking about new ways of working together, then we see, hey, we need to work like a network. We need to exchange all this information, and we need to easier find the information. And we need to have systems and tools how to get better access to all the existing information. And what we have developed is a tool called Office Graph. And it was inspired by the Web 2.0 technology, and is a cloud-only solution. And what it does is it takes all the information in the existing systems and makes a network out of it. And it understands, for example, that Peter has created an information, Sonia has accessed the information, and Sonia also used this information during a meeting. And if I set up a meeting for the same issue, then the system suggests me, hey, that there is already some other information, some other people involved in that project. Maybe I should invite those guys also. So there's some machine learning component in there, and we are realizing through our cloud technologies, so that we are really helping people to access information much easier and to work with information which is already available in the company without searching for it. It's going automatically. Next one. How does it look like? This is just the first attempt of, having this in a client, having a development out of that. This is a screen, it says trending around me. So trending around me, we all know that from Twitter, but it can also be used for enterprises, why not? What are the important projects? What are the important information around me? And this thing adopts to my knowledge profile. So it understands what I'm working on, and it gives me back information which could be of potential interest for me. And it is totally different to Sonia. It's totally different to Thorsten, who is my boss. Next one, please. And everybody of you thinks, can really adopt that? Is our company ready for such things? And you might remember the first two slides I have made as an introduction, like these companies which are not built for change. So what that means is, what is needed is a dramatic cultural shift. And the cultural shift goes from hierarchies to networks. So people need to understand that the best information counts. It's not the hierarchy where you're in. The best information counts. The best employee for this program counts. Makes a value add to it. Control to empower. This is something we live at Microsoft very much. The individual employee is not very much controlled. He is empowered. He has some goals. He has a budget, and he needs to fight to really get to the goals with the existing budget. He is empowered to do that. There is extrinsic rewards and intrinsic motivation. So, for example, I started at Microsoft. I was responsible for SharePoint, and I couldn't believe it because there was no other guy who was responsible for SharePoint. It was just me. I'm having now a product with multi-million revenue and I need to care for that. So I was empowered to really manage that business. There was nobody else who covered that. Customers and partners and community. This is interesting because we see even more usage of social technologies by companies for their employees, not for their employees, but for their partners and for their customers. And it is on the Facebook side, it is a closed, in this case, Yammer site, where they invite their partners and their customers to talk with them about certain specific things. So, for example, for us as Microsoft, we have really big programs to talk to, for example, business decision makers, which are marketing leaders or public relation leaders, because if they see a letter from Microsoft, they give it away to the IT decision maker. And for us, it is important to have more contact to these functional departments. So it is, what we did is, we made a community of partners, so 10 specific partners, and we brought them together and to help us to get a better contact to these business decision makers. And what we did is we set up a Yammer community, an external Yammer network to exchange ideas, to exchange documents, and to exchange best practices on how to approach business decision makers. Next one. I was at one, not customer, prospect. I was at one prospect, is a very, very large German retail company with hundreds of thousands of employees, really big. And they made this slide as an entry slide. It's not from Microsoft, it's from the customer. And they are saying this is the future of work, and this is the future of the formula of the future of work. Interesting. So next one, please. They say they need to count with the half of the workforce they have today. It's not that they fire the people, it's about that they don't find qualified people on the market anymore. So they expect in the next 7 to 10 years that they need to work with just the half of the size as they are today. Next one, please. That means that these, and it's German, it's called Fachkräftemangel. I don't know how to translate it in English. And what it means in German is that these people are more expensive. They take double the salary which a normal employee takes before. Next one, please. But as a company, they need to deliver the 3 times more profit than they do it today. So this is the future of work for them for the next 7 to 10 years. I find it very interesting. Of course, this is, very metaphoric again, but it gives you a sense of what companies, large companies, think about of the productivity of the information worker. And I believe if you take all the new technologies together, and if you take some kind of cultural change into it, then we will be able to support that new formula of working in the future. Next one, please. That's it basically from my side. So I think social communication is very important, cultural change is very important, and there are several software vendors out there who help you, and we of course having several partners out there who help you doing this transformational or cultural change to adopt to this new style of working. Have you any questions to it?
My name is Sanjeev. In one of the charts, you mentioned that the email time is not reducing over the period of time. But do you see any change in behavior or the functionality of these emails?
Yeah, interesting question. I didn't want to talk about our product, but as you asked me, I need to. Because what we're experiencing at Microsoft is, so we have link, communication, which is instant messaging, then we have email, then we have social. It's like, whoa, it's too much information, too much clients there. And our future roadmap goes to there that we combine now all the information flows from different tools into one. And we will see that Outlook is having some kind of renaissance. And we integrate all the social communication into groups in Outlook. So we call that groups. A group is like a project where several people are working on. And we integrate into those groups the email communication, the social communication, and the communication at SharePoint, for example, so that it's easier for people to consume all the different information. If you are asking if email and social has something together, yes. If you combine them, then the power is even more.
Anybody else? Any questions? I have a question to the emails as well, because is there any plans to install some filters in the future? Because when you a week away you have 400 emails, and to get the right one, the right information. Is there anything planned in that way?
Yeah, we care about the information overflow. I can't disclose what we're doing for filters and reducing email flow, but what I can disclose is this Oslo thing or this Office Graph thing. So if you're away for several times and you don't know what's happening around me in the company, then this Office Graph, which I introduced some slides before, is the way to go, because this is the easiest way for employees to understand what's important right now. So what are the important projects? What is escalating? What is super important to me? So this helps you finding the first orientation in your daily life if you return from your vacation. And we all know this problem, and we are working on it.
Anybody else? Last question.
I've got a question about the graph you showed about the social media and the percentages.
Yes.
Is that about the percentages of people at work, or is it generic?
It's generic.
Okay, so it's not for working in the
not at the moment, because if you're this is work and private life together. But what you see is that there's something changing, and if you take the private thing out, but you still see that the social thing is going up. But it's just more powerful if you combine it, because we see that modern work styles are very much influenced from what's happening in your private life, and this is why I choose that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Thank you.